Hi, I'm in conversation with Amrita Gangotra. Amrita is a well-known name in the technology, telecoms, especially in IT services sector. Doesn't need any more introduction. Thank you for taking time out, Amrita, and good to see you here virtually.
Same here, Udai. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Brilliant. Amrita, just to set the context, right, we've been talking over the phone, we are seeing unprecedented times, right? Nobody ever thought, we will go through these times. And, a lot has been spoken, written about how organizations will go on from here, right? And digital transformation is one big piece in that. While it's been spoken that globally digital transformation will be accelerating, right? But Indian business houses, you are a consultant yourself, and you're consulting large Indian business houses. You're on the board yourself of a large technology company. How are you viewing, or how does the board view today in the boardroom as far as digital transformation is concerned?
Very interesting discussion. I think the first 2-3 weeks of the lockdown, the entire organizations actually went into panic mode. So there was this whole activation of BCP, the business continuity planning, and organizations that had put in some effort earlier on the digital transformation benefited from that, and therefore could quickly move into allowing virtual work from home, or other business models. Even startups also got affected badly, and the business revenues got affected badly. So people had to sort of sit up and notice the fact that technology plays a central role in the businesses today, and the business models will change. The technologies are more or less there. It's the implementation that were at different maturity level in different organizations. So I would say it's more the board's mindset on putting the amount of effort in terms of resources, capex, etc., and having a proper strategy to adopt digital transformation was and is the basic issue. But COVID-19 has really shown us that it is important to keep technology at the center space when it comes to interacting either with your employees, colleagues, your customers, the even supply chain, manufacturing, every area, wherever there is technology being implemented, there is benefits to see. So yes, I think COVID-19 has made the board think about what they have done till now and what they should do going forward. It has shown them that a lot of things are possible. As an example, there was always a debate in a lot of organizations whether, the call centers need to be captive, whether the BPOs need to be, and we've been talking about agents from home for a long time. But this has, sort of proven that you can run businesses very, very virtually. And in fact, it has also proven that you can track the productivity, and people work sometimes much harder than when they're coming to office and they're spending time in commuting, and there's a divide. So yes, there's a mindset change, and that is important. The processes, the business model, all of that needs to be rethought. And then, how technology helps all of this is going to be a discussion point in the boardroom. It's already started, I would say.
Brilliant, Amrita. Fantastic. So that leads me to another question, right? Is you spoke about work from home, which was, I think, envisaged so many years back, but never got implemented. And this is a reason to really give it a push. And suddenly now everybody's implementing it. Why it did not get implemented earlier, and today it is getting implemented? It brings a lot of risks along with that, Amrita, specifically around information security. Today, a lot of IT services companies have already announced saying that, like TCS, 75% of their employees will work from home till, by 2025. So, similarly, all other IT services companies will obviously relook at the entire work from home strategy. But, the question is, what about security and risk around client data? uh, where what is that a discussion today with business leaders?
I think that is the biggest discussion because it's about the risk and the compliance.
Right.
So risk could be in terms of the security, the endpoint security or antivirus, and the security within your premise as such. Today, the concept of DMZ and the trust of assets within your firewall is sort of becoming irrelevant. It's
Right.
about the endpoint devices, whether it's protected enough, whether you have thought through your strategy in terms of data privacy and the risk that you carry in terms of the asset management and data that you're handling for your client. GDPR is, very, very important to follow and to comply with. And
Yeah.
how that is going to be done, considering now that you have a lot of virtual assets
Yeah.
in your network. So considerations of security and compliance is going to be topmost in the minds of the board and the senior executives. There are solutions, and it needs to be rethought: the network architecture, the endpoint architecture, the asset management, the licensing, and the data backup, recovery. All of that needs to be relooked at so that the entire organization is protected, and they protect their clients, they protect their employees. But it is very much possible, and people need to move fast in that. You have seen how Zoom has moved fast
Yeah.
in enabling all the security features that are required and
Yeah.
becoming more and more compliant in terms of security. But still, people are continuing to use that. So being aware of those risks is also another important aspect. The awareness and the education. BYOD used to be a concept that was at
Yeah.
one time fashionable and trying to implement it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but these questions were there even then. What would happen to your personal data? What would happen to your client data? What would happen to your corporate data?
Yeah.
So more or less, some type of policies and workflows and tools are already available, but they
Yeah.
need to be relooked at given the new business model. I think it's the new business model that matters more, and how we ensure that that whole thing is protected well.
You touched upon point, and the key word there was fast, right? It's all about speed. How quickly do you identify as an organization, and how quickly do you mitigate that risk? We've seen that, and facing data breach. We've seen, a lot of other organizations, and what I hear also is the number of phishing attacks have significantly gone up. DDoS attacks have significantly gone up on networks. So yes, I think it's all about speed. As you rightly said. Uh, Talking about speed, Amrita, I know for sure that 5G is something which is very close to you, and you've advising a lot of companies around enterprise IoT, AI, ML. Um, with this current situation, do you think 5G is now a distant dream? And what's your view around it?
See, the telecom demand, given that you need more bandwidth at homes, at distributed areas, is a known thing.
Yeah.
The telecom industry has had to move very fast in increasing the current capacity in the current infrastructure that they have in the shortest possible time.
Right.
But that means this demand is going to be there and it is going to increase. So that is definitely there. And 5G is one of the ways to solve the demand on wireless capacity and bandwidth and latency needs that are going to come in.
Yeah.
So I would say at this point of time, as far as the supply side is concerned, whether it's standards or whether it's manufacturing of devices, etc., like every other manufacturing units, there is a little bit of a pause, disruption happening. But on the other hand, when you see more and more demand people are going to speed up and get away from the constraints that they are facing today. So
Yeah.
ultimately, in a quarter or two, I would say the 5G implementation is going to ramp up more faster than before,
Okay.
because we're soon going to run out of the bandwidth available with 4G, 4G plus. There is connectivity that the government and digitization that the government is pushing. For
Yeah.
all of this, 5G is definitely required, and there are multiple use cases now with the business models changing, are
Yeah.
going to prove beneficial to the manufacturing unit, the
Yeah.
e-health, the education industry. All of these are going to benefit from the rollout of 5G.
Brilliant, Amrita. So it was fantastic talking to you and getting these insights. So thank you so much for your time.